Today's stories include even more updates on WB Games and Wonder Woman. The Nemesis system patent is expiring in 2036, and 10 games are taking up all the money. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, February 26th, 2025. My name is Roger Picorni, and I'm joined by the master of hype, Snowbike Mike. 5 days away from work is too fucking long. How you doing, Mike? How you feeling?
Work on a Monday, and you know I'm uptight. Okay, I don't need to be ever off of work on a Monday. I need to be at work having fun.
You know, it was a scary moment, right? Because Monday, I'm on the calendar and I'm looking around. I'm like, "Where's Mike?" It wasn't on the calendar for some reason. Usually, it is like, "Hey, someone's out." You know, like whatever. Mike's out in the big letters. Mike wasn't. It didn't say Mike out. So I looked at Andy very concerned. I was like, "Where's Mike? Is he? Did he die? Did he die in Chicago? What happened to him?"
I found love in Chicago. I found love. I'm going to tell you what. I like Chicago. I love Chicago.
Oh, okay. So you just found the love of Chicago.
Yeah, I found love of the Midwest. Right
I got
there.
excited for you.
Oh,
I thought you found a Midwest girl. Oh, man.
We tried. We went to a couple of dive bars. It didn't work.
we heard Blessing's story.
On the Kinda Funny podcast, you can go check out Blessing's side of the story.
Yeah.
Which I will say, you know, me and Bless have gone on a couple adventures together now. I think this is our second official, just Mike and Bless.
Just the boys.
But this was the first time where Bless was like stuck. We were attached at the hip, right? Like when we went to
run away.
When we went to PAX East, Bless had a moment of like, oh, I'm going to go break off and see my friends. Yeah. I'm going to do my panel. You do yours. And he got time away from me. This time it was like, I'm looking at him and he's like, oh shit, I'm stuck with Mike. And I was like, you're here with me for 24 full hours together. Yeah. And you know what? It was a good time.
And I heard you didn't even bring a jacket.
No jacket needed, Raj.
No jacket needed.
Now,
what was the weather like?
It was cold.
What was the weather? Tell us the temperatures.
It was 14 degrees.
Okay. Yeah, but it felt like negative 18.
It was ice cold. I will say, should I have brought a jacket? Yes. Did I do just fine with that one? Of course I did.
Now, why didn't you bring a jacket? Because apparently Joey said that you were packing a few jackets.
I had this bag.
Yeah.
I was packing things in the bag, and the jacket didn't fit. And now the question would be, okay, Mike, well, then that means you wear the jacket onto the airplane. You upgraded your seat into the first class pod. Okay. I'm sure they'll take your jacket and put it somewhere
They would love to do that, yeah.
Absolutely not. Me and this man awkwardly laid back down and looked at each other. I was like, I immediately wrote Bless. I was like, fuck the pod. Don't ever sit in the pod.
So you were in a pod, though?
Yeah, but it wasn't a pod. You know what I mean? I thought a pod was like very isolated and like we could put the little walls up.
Yeah.
No, it was very much like 4 seats right next to each other. We all could like lay ourselves fully down and like you could put your feet up. So it wasn't like the pod that
you spent $400 to sit next to 4 people.
Yeah, you would have preferred the normal first class seat that feels a little bit less like I'm in your face, because we were like together.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
but usually you like that. You like making the conversation.
Yeah, but I did have a good conversation with them at the end. He gave me some good recommendations for some good Chicago food places. And I had a blast in Chicago, of course. Thank you to so many. I've also learned about the Golden Triangle, a new way of life that I'm very excited to tell you all about on my turn for the podcast. I'm going to tell you about how I'm living in the Golden Triangle.
And that should happen on Friday's GAMESCAST, where Mike and Bless are going to be talking about all their time over at MagicCon, reviewing potentially Magic, telling them about everything that they experience. But remember, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, and now Spotify and Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get an exclusive daily show that is Gregway. For a chance to be part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions on YouTube SuperChats as we go. Housekeeping, we're an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Today, after, okay, I got to redo this because I didn't read because we had a weird morning, everybody. If you're listening to Kinda Funny Games Daily right now, we had another Kinda Funny Games Daily basically, but now it's a GAMESCAST. So what happened was we were doing Games Daily. It was going to be me and Andy. Andy was going to be hosting, and then Jason Schreier was like, "Hey, I want to pop in, explain some stuff about the Warner Brothers Monolith games production shutting down. I want to talk about that, right? So we came on, and then halfway through it, we're like, this is so good, we're going to make this the GAMESCAST, right? So we did that. That is up right now over on the GAMESCAST feeds, and now we're doing Games Daily. So after this is going to be the stream, right? Which is going to be
Blessing playing Dark Souls for the first ever time. We're back with part 2 of that one, which means he has rang the bell tower and he is going down.
Whoa.
And we're very excited to see where he goes
Ooh.
next. Yeah.
Whoa.
What is he going to...
Because he's done it too.
Oh, yeah. Mike, let me tell you. I maybe met a princess the other day.
Maybe a princess.
Voluptuous.
Whoa.
That's all I'll say. Wow. It's crazy.
Whoa.
It's crazy.
Bear found some love too. And then after that, if you're a Kind of Funny member, you can get today's Gregway, as I said before, and you can get Alien vs. Predator in review this afternoon. You can watch that live, and tomorrow on YouTube and podcast services, and that is Predator Dos.
I watched it 3 times now.
What?
I wanted to watch it and catch up with this. I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. I'm excited
on
for
Predator 2.
On Predator 2.
So you watched...
I have a lot of feelings.
This is your third time in general?
I watched it on the plane ride
Okay.
there. Fell asleep during the halfway point, woke up at the finale. I said, man, I messed that up. Like, I gotta try this again. Turned it on again, and I was watching it, and I was like, trash. Turned it off. Then last night, I was like, you know what, Mike, you were too hard on that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the plane ride. Maybe you were a little tired. So I watched it all last night again. Trash.
You're watching these all, and I feel like we're missing out on content, right? Like, it really should just be, because you watch these in reviews, like, half the time you're in the fucking corner as they're doing it, right? Like, we should just give you a mic and have a set up in the corner, and then, it's like love and sex stuff, right? We're just good pan over, just Mike sleeping, or Mike's like, I agree, that shit sucks.
Or we forget to turn off his mic, and then you just hear him breathing heavy into the mic.
We should totally do that. That'd be great. Make sure to check that out. And thank you to our Patreon producers, Delaney Twining, Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, and Karen Lindler. Today, we are brought to you by Greg Miller's live Chicago show and BetterHelp, but we'll tell you about that later. But for now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Starting with number 1. Canceled Wonder Woman was, quote-unquote, was gorgeous and expansive. That's from comic book writer who consulted on the game. This is written by Vicky Blake at IGN. Comic writer Gail Simone has revealed she worked on Warner Brothers' beleaguered Wonder Woman game before it was shelved yesterday. Simone, known for being the longest-running female writer on Wonder Woman comics to date, praised the Dream Team working on the video game, insisting everyone she worked with from the now-shuttered Monolith and Warner Brothers was, quote-unquote, enthusiastic and supportive. Quote, I was asked to do a long-term consulting on the game, and I was thrilled to do it. It was a perfect storm of stuff I adore, Simone wrote on social media. Wonder Woman video games and one of my favorite game studios, Monolith, who produced the Game of the Year Mordor games that I was completely addicted to. The game was gorgeous and expansive. It was beautiful to look at. I was not going to give details for a number of reasons, but every effort was made to make this not just a great game, but a great Wonder Woman game, a showpiece epic. And all of that was because of the team. Everyone who worked on it brought their A game. Programmers, artists, designers, everyone. I don't know that I have ever worked with a team that cared more about making sure the end product was perfect. It was a dream come true. Wonder Woman had a dream team, and they put their all into it, Simone concluded. They made sure it had WW, Wonder Woman, and DC lore on every aspect of the game. It was a thrill and honor to work with them. I know there's a lot of finger-pointing going on, but everyone I worked with from Monolith and WB both was enthusiastic and supportive. Everyone wanted to make the best game ever. Wow. Mike, you were gone when this all broke yesterday. I just want to get, first of all, just your thoughts on this general whole situation, and then let's talk about Wonder Woman specifically and what Gail said.
Yeah, thoughts on the whole situation from Snowbike Mike, of course, is it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It really does suck. That's a huge blow to the games industry, seeing so many talented teams get let go and shut down. And also WB just absolutely lost at the helm, right? Like they had Hogwarts Legacy. Congratulations, that was great. Everything else, you look around, Suicide Squad, Hogwarts Quidditch Champions, and it's just like multiverses. Nothing has been a hit. Nothing has
Gotham
had
Knights.
a good plan of attack here since Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. So it's been a long time, and it feels like a lot of missteps from the top that led to this just awful situation that we're now currently in. And when you hear someone like Gale, right, who has been in the comic book industry for so long, working on Wonder Woman and other titles, to hear that passion and that excitement for a project that, yeah, maybe you were into, maybe you're on the fence for. I know I was very excited about it because Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor are some of my favorite games of all time. It's like, oh, that's exciting. That could have been awesome. And yeah, when you think about gorgeous and expansive, that's what I thought of a Wonder Woman would have probably been from Monolith, right?
Yeah.
Of like this big open world, probably lush and beautiful, and then just, man, that Nemesis system would have been cool. Nemesis system would have been cool.
And we learned on the Gamescast today that Jason Schreier was reporting that potentially there was going to be some type of opposite of the Nemesis system where you get new allies, which is very Wonder Woman. I mean, this is really heartbreaking, especially to hear from somebody as tenured as Gale, right? And to talk about, saying such high praise, right? Of like, oh no, this is one of the best teams that I've ever worked with, like they really cared about this franchise and putting Wonder Woman to the screen, or to the video game screen rather. This is so interesting, right? Because we going off of that conversation with Jason Schreier that we just had, it's so fascinating that this was not the original pitch, right? They originally did not want to make a Wonder Woman game. It was kind of like, hey, okay, well, like we're working on this other thing and it's not really panning out. It's an original IP. Okay, fine, well, let's do a Wonder Woman game. And it came together so fast, and they had to reboot it a few years ago. And to see now that they were really gung-ho on this, right? Like they had a vision for this. They were building towards something potentially really great, but there was just too many roadblocks in the way in order to continue to greenlight it for another potentially 4-5 years, right? We know how long video game development goes. We know how to rebuild an entire leadership team. We know that it's going to take a lot of time to get this game to a place where it's actually going to release and to be seen. So it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, the crazy one is like you asked, like, rewind, Mike, of like when you saw this announcement, you haven't been at work. Like, I saw the tweets from James Gunn of like, we're gonna double down on DC games, and I retweeted the fun one of like, bring back Gotham City Imposters.
Oh,
right?
dude,
like,
don't even get me fucking started. Oh my god.
You're like, oh, DC games, and then you see Wonder Woman and Monolith, and you're like, okay, well, clearly you could have just said Batman, right?
Yeah.
Like you clearly have put your flag down of like, only Batman works. That's the only game that we can make this happen. And I get it, right? Rocksteady and Batman, peanut butter and jelly. We love that, right? But there's a big DC universe out there. You're going to restart the DC cinematic universe. We're going to have a lot of new characters, right?
Creature Commandos, yeah.
Why are we falling back on Wonder Woman here, especially with Monolith? And so that just leads you to look over, like Jason reported, right? At the top, there was some very bad decisions. There was people who maybe sat on their hands afraid to make a decision, right? And so we've now led to this. And it's just wild to see the tweets from James Gunn of like, we're going to focus on DC games. And then here we are canceling Wonder Woman, one of the biggest DC names in the recent years from the movies and onward here.
Yeah, no, it's heartbreaking, and I'm not very versed in Monolith, at least their history before Shadow of War and Mordor, right? I didn't know. I knew that they did the Fear franchise, but I didn't really know like how their Condemned game that they made before that, and just like how tenured they were. So I watched a video, I believe it's Game Maker's Tips on YouTube. They put out basically like Game Maker's Tips. Toolkit. There it is. Thank you so much. They're an amazing YouTube channel. You should check them out. They have such incredible deep dives on video game design. But this one was kind of an off-the-cuff video where he doesn't usually do this, where he's like, hey, like this is a developer that I really care about, and they're gone right now. We're never going to see them again. So here's 5 of my favorite games that they've made throughout their history. And it is really, really incredible. So I implore every single person out there to watch that. And yeah, it went through the history of like, this is just his, version of his favorite 5 games. And there's so many other ones that he mentions towards the ending where I'm like, fuck, they made Matrix Online. Like, that's crazy. Like
they made Guardians of Middle Earth, the Lord of the Rings MOBA game.
Nuts.
They were partnered up with Zombie Studios, it looks like, for that one. But that's one of my favorites. And yeah, that's a strong team, and just to see that just absolutely gone is wild, Roger, that we live in such a time. I mean, we report on the layoffs each and every week. It seems like it's happening nonstop. But then when you get to like full-on studios closing and a team with that reputation that has made some great games, it's wild, right? But I go back to WB. I look at WB, the last, decade here. You can just start pinpointing like bad decisions, games that didn't hit. Back for Blood is one of those games, right?
Fuck.
And that was one of those that wanted to be Left 4 Dead, but
that.
didn't find the footing, didn't nail that, and that one didn't make it, right? And so you just go down the list. It's like a lot of bad decisions, and then there's, of course, the staples, right? Batman made it. Okay, cool. Harry Potter made it, and it's tough because clearly they're like, okay, well, those are the only games that work, so we're not doing anything else but that. And it seems like we continue to live in this video game industry where it's like, if it doesn't work, it's out. If it can't be perfect, then it's out no matter what. And so we're tightening it up every single time, which is scary.
Wow.
A lot of Lego games,
A lot of Lego
games.
A Bakugan game.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's fire. Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit more about Monolith because story number 2, Monolith's Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system patent doesn't expire for another decade. This is from Blair Marnell over at GameSpot. In 2014, Monolith Productions introduced its Nemesis system in Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. That AI procedural program allowed this Lord of the Rings game and its 2017 sequel, Middle-earth Shadow of War, to feature enemies who remembered previous encounters with the player's character and evolved accordingly. Unfortunately, with the recent closure of Monolith and 2 other studios owned by Warner Brothers, it may be a very long time before another video game utilizes the Nemesis system. As reported by journalist Stephen Totillo, Monolith's Nemesis system patent, which remains the property of Warner Brothers, was filed in 2016, and it won't expire until August 11th, 2036. Put that on the kind of funny calendar. The only way the patent could be officially abandoned beforehand is if Warner Brothers fails to pay the associated fees to keep it active. The Wonder Woman video game was canceled with the closure of Monolith. Had that game been finished, it would have been the only the third title to utilize the Nemesis system. Presumably, that would have involved Wonder Woman making friends, allies, and enemies over the course of the game's story. However, there was a report earlier this year that Wonder Woman had a troubled development, and it was said to be over $100 million in the hole and far from finished. Yeah, I mean, as Jason, I think, correctly pointed out, right, like, he thinks that that's very overblown, like the whole patent of it all, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a very specific system, right? And you would have to kind of reverse engineer that and get it perfectly in order to have like an actual like a lawsuit that someone could potentially file.
Roger,
and
yes.
You could take elements of this and make this into whatever game you want. You just can't actually take the entirety of the Nemesis system and the technology behind it and try to put it into your game that if you're not Warner Brothers. But it is still kind of ridiculous that we're patenting an entire system that has so, like, for instance, Monolith going under is so interesting to me because it's one of the few, I would say, developers that marked their territory as making like such a huge stride in video game systems. Like, there's not that many off the top of your head that you can think of.
It's still talked about to this day, Roger.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Everybody talks about the Nemesis system, and everyone's like, oh my God, fantasy booking, right? Like the perfect game to have the Nemesis. Imagine a Batman game with Nemesis system. Like, it was such a huge idea. And I remember when that game, when Shadow of Mordor first came out, that was like the first, like, it felt like next-gen video game in my opinion, right? Because it was taking technology and it wasn't just good graphics. It was like, oh no, we're doing something really complex behind the scenes. So to have this locked behind Warner Brothers, for better or for worse, is the worst. It's the worst option here. You don't want this locked behind Warner Brothers, but also, to Jason's point, is anybody actually going out there at a AAA level being like, hey, we want to take this massive risk to do something and, try to emulate the system in general? I don't know.
Yeah, it's odd that we haven't seen anyone, because you bring up so many games that we all kind of fantasy book of like, oh, I wish they did the Nemesis system, but nobody else has done that. Nobody has either cared to do it, or maybe they've been afraid of this patent and couldn't steer clear of it. But like, we are in this day, 10 years after, of like, nobody's even tried that. Yeah. Nobody's wanted to try that.
Not even
I guess.
like,
I don't,
at least
I don't know
to like,
what that is.
to my knowledge, like not even like an indie developer, right? Like, you would assume that somebody would try to do something like that there, but I haven't heard of any of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad.
But yeah, like you said, it's unfortunate that we are now trapped in this hellscape, that it is locked down till 2036, this patent, right? And a team's going to be able to maybe buy it from WB, say, hey, you took a big blow there, let's just buy this off of you, or let's license it. Now you kind of play this game of, does anybody want this? Is anybody going to use it? We haven't seen anybody yet, so where do we stand? But with this major blow, who knows? Maybe someone will slide in and say, "Hey, we'll buy that off of you, or let's license it."
Yeah, I don't even know, man. Like, because unless they have unless Monolith, they're selling off like the pieces of Monolith, right? Like, unless they have like, hey, we have an engine here that is plug and play with Unreal or whatever, and you could just slide this in and boom, you got a Nemesis system. I don't think anybody's going to be out there like an EA and being like, hey, man, we have this cool game idea, but like, we really want the Nemesis system. Let's pay X millions of dollars to Warner Brothers to license it out, and then potentially that license expires 20 years from now, and then we have to take the game off of the stores, right? Like, it just gets so complicated, but it is interesting to see, to hear about this and think about, like, is this even a priority going forward, right? Like, is the Nemesis system going to be used outside of a Monolith game, right? Because Monolith is gone now. So, like, is Rocksteady looking around and being like, fuck, we could use that for Batman. That could be the defining feature. Are they looking for Harry Potter? Because that would be sick, like, being able to, like, find your Nemesis and do that thing, right? Like, are they going to be taking this, or is this forgotten, right? Like, is Monolith dying now, just the end of this, and then we just kind of go back 10 years from now and be like, remember the Nemesis system? Shame we didn't do more of that.
I think I think you've nailed it with that one. It's like, this will be gone and forgotten. But like, yeah, you can apply it to so many cool things, right? I think, like you brought up, this is a system that we'll probably never forget, that we'll cherish and think, man, that was so cool, right? Fighting that one orc, he beat me, he then rose up the ranks, or I humiliated him.
He's got the prosthetic leg.
Yeah,
it's so
he got
cool.
humiliated, and then when we go to the big orc tower, and he's like, hey, dude, I remember your name. And it's like, okay, like, that's novel and fun, but we haven't seen it in a game since then. So is that really anything that we're going to put in? What games can be put in? Probably Batman and Hogwarts, right?
Yeah.
A GTA, could you do something like that?
Sure.
A low-level gangster, then, you know, he gets out of the gunfight, comes back, and he remembers you, maybe. But, yeah, I think this will be a gone, forgotten one, Roger.
Damn, that's heartbreaking. But that was just story number 2. We got a whole lot more show for you. But before that, let me remind you about the Kinda Funny membership. The Kinda Funny membership, you can subscribe and get everything ad-free, but you didn't do that. So here's a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by me, Greg Miller. Chicago, what are you doing Thursday, April 10th at 7 p.m.? The answer? Coming to my live show. That's right, Mrs. Miller's baby boy is coming back to Chicagoland and putting on a 90-minute, one-night-only show live from the Goodwin Auditorium at Benedictine University in Lisle. I'm mixing a bit of Up at Noon with a bit of my best Comic-Con performances with a lot of my Chicago influences. I'm calling it a late night with Greg Miller, and it's going to offer never-before-heard adolescent tales, an interview with one of my favorite bands of all time, a conversation with Millie Ramsey about growing up in the internet spotlight, your live questions for me, and of course, tons of fabulous video game prizes. Get your tickets now at kindafunny.com/Chicago. And hey, Midwest people, we never do shows out there, so this is your chance to see a Greg Miller stage show. Indiana, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, we always talk about how we love to drive as Midwest people, so hit the road for an opportunity you may never get again. This is a fundraiser for Benedictine University. That's right, my childhood best friend Poe's school. So get your tickets now at kindafunny.com/Chicago, and I'll see you on April 10th. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's always important for us to be aware of a relationship red flags we should avoid. But what if we focused more on looking for green flags in friends and partners? If you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify green flags, actively practice them in your relationships, and embody the green flag energy yourself. Some of our best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who have experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, and it serves over 5 million people worldwide. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/kindafunny to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny. BetterHelp.com/kindafunny.
We're back, everybody, with story number 3. More than 40% of all US PS5 and Xbox playtime last month was spent on 10 live service games. This is from Chris Scullion over at VGC. More than 40% of the total time spent playing PS5 or Xbox Series X S games in the US last month was spent on just 10 live service games. That's according to Matt Piscatella, friend of the show, the executive director and video game industry analyst at Circana. In a thread on Blue Sky, Piscatella pointed out that more than 70% of active PS5 and Xbox Series X users in the US played at least one of the top 10 live service games in January. While some of these players may have simply tried the game and then moved on to something else, these 10 live service games have been popular enough to command a combined 40% of all playtime spent across the entire PS5 and Xbox Series libraries last month. Piscatella notes that the statistics may be concerning for developers and publishers of other games because the total U.S. video game market spending, total players, and total hours all peaked in 2021. And, quote-unquote, the pace of games being released hasn't slowed. As such, the pool of potential players isn't getting larger, and if many of them are spending a lot of time on the same 10 live service games, that reduces the amount of time being spent trying out other titles, in particular, new releases. This is a quote. A lot is riding on the new products coming to the market in this year to hopefully combat or reverse some of these trends. Piscatella noted, presumably referring to the Switch 2 and numerous upcoming AAA games. GTA 6. Used to this is another quote. Used to be that players would jump from big game to some other games, but they were most often to moving to something new that they purchased. He added, now the live service games suck out a ton of available time, and it's hard to beat free if it's good. So here we are. It is crazy how we have moved as like a video game society, because I remember as a kid, maybe it's just me being a kid, but like I remember being so young and there was like the boom of like free to play games happening like when I was really young. Like I'm talking like Battlefield Heroes. I don't know if you remember that. That was like a third person, like cartoony, like almost like Fortnite before Fortnite, but not really. Yeah, look this up. Maybe if I'm completely making this up, but I'm pretty sure. Battlefield Heroes, and it was like one of the first free-to-play games that I ever saw.
Okay.
I remember going to my dad because he was like, you know, the head of the household, the head of the computer, and he was like, I was like, hey, I want to download this game. It's free. And he was like, nothing's free in this world, Roger. Like this is a virus. Like that doesn't exist, right? Like, and then like fast forward,
He's
like,
fucking right.
Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. But then a few years later, right? Like, you know, everything's, you know, free to play. I mean, I remember like downloading demos and being like, that was the only free thing that I had on my Xbox 360. And then next generation, fucking 40% of people are playing these top 10 games. Like, how does that take you, man?
That is a wild number right there.
Yeah.
It feels right, because as you know, I am the live service guy. I live and breathe in a lot of these probably similar games in the top 10 if you looked at what I'm playing and what are up there, right? I've tried to play more games over this past couple of years, which has been great, but I'm probably in this audience. And also, I feel like I grew up before the free-to-play games. It felt like you had to buy the games, which,
Call of Duty every year, Halo.
Mom was like, oh, man. Mike wants to play Dead or Alive. He's never played a fighting game in his life. Why am I buying Dead or Alive on a random Tuesday night?
Why were you buying Dead or Alive?
Because I wanted a new game, Roger, and it was a bad idea. And so, the crazy part is like I grew up in this era beforehand where, your parents or you, if you were, you know, of the age and hardworking, had your own money, had to buy a new game every single time to go on to the next thing, right? And it felt like the cycle was buy that game, play it, go buy a new game, play it, go buy the new game. Now it very much feels different, right? There are these free-to-play games, and there are thousands of them on your PC, on your Xbox, on your PlayStation 4, your Switch, that you can just jump in and try. And we've also seen that some of these free-to-play games are very good, right? And because they're very good, they dominate the landscape, because I think back when I was a kid, my mom did not want to spend $60 every single time little Mike wanted a video game, right?
Like
now,
Dead or Alive for who knows?
That's
who knows
literally
what
one.
reason.
It was either that one or 6 or 4. One of these games I made my mom buy.
Impossible
She
to
was
know.
not pleased with me because I never played it again.
Yeah, I did that all the time. I remember I asked my mom, I was like, hey, I really, really want LA Noire. And I got that, I'm like, this is not GTA. And then I was like, fuck this game. And I was like, give me Sims 3 on the Xbox 360. I'm like, fuck this game, I don't want that. Give me Duke Nukem. fuck this game. I don't want that. I'm just constantly.
You had it right at the
I
start
was
with LA Noire.
I'm a child. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I would just like return these games. And I would get like half the money, and it would just keep on depreciating.
And so now we live in a world where kids like that can just play these free-to-play games without having their parents to get involved, to go to GameStop and buy these games, or go on the marketplace and buy them in today's age. And everyone is playing those games, and that's where they're gonna be. They want to be where their friends are.
Yeah.
And so that's where we live in right now. And I think Matt had a really great interview with Greg, which
It's
everyone
incredible.
should go check out.
Everyone should watch it.
If you want to listen to some really intelligent stuff about the industry right now, you should go listen to those too, because it was really, really good. But like you have to remember, like, I think the biggest one was like the people watching and listening, all of us in this room, the people that we meet at conventions, you are much different than the outside world. You are in a different pocket of video games that is far different from outside, where people might not have the money. They might just buy only Madden or one game a year. They're waiting on GTA for their next big thing, or they've fallen in love with Fortnite or GTA Online, and that's where they want to spend their time because their friends are there. That's where their social circle is, and that's where they want to spend their time, because all these games as well, GTA Online has nothing but user-created content, which means it's always turning. They're adding new stuff to it. Fortnite has endless modes that you can now play in Fortnite
It's like
Creative.
6 different games in one at least.
I mean, it's like these games that are free to play are running the markets because they have so much to offer and because they're great.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here right now.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, it doesn't help that, no one has money anymore, right? Like, everything's getting more
say that,
expensive,
Roger,
and you look around, it's like, okay, do I really want to spend $70 on a game that I might like, I might not like, I don't know. And, I think back to it, right, when I was a kid, not to do the boomer thing, but, like, it's true. Like, when I was a kid, you're so right, Call of Duty, right? Every year, me and my friends, okay, we have to do the thing where we all beg our parents for Call of Duty Black Ops 2, right? Oh, shit, okay, we finally all got it, okay, we're in there, boom. But now it's like, okay, well, most of these kids are playing Fortnite. Most of these kids are playing Apex. Most of these kids are playing, Counter-Strike, whatever it is. I know Counter-Strike isn't free. Is it free to play? I think it is.
Counter-Strike is free.
Jesus Christ.
But also, it broke my
Valorant is
brain.
free.
Yeah.
It broke my brain, Roger, when you were like, when I was a kid and we got Black Ops 2, that fucked with me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. Fucking, I love Black Ops 2, but Black Ops 2 ruled. Yeah, so it's, I always like the talking to, I have some cousins or whatever, and like, oh, I have a kid who's like getting into games. Like, what do I get him? I'm like, honestly, you can get him one video game and then just fucking Fortnite. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, I have a little cousin, and he got a Switch, and she was like, what do I get him? And I'm like, okay, well, you get him Lego 2K Drive or whatever, because he likes little racing things, and then you can just give him Fortnite, because there's racing in there too, and he'll play with his friends and have a good time. Like, that's how it is. You don't have to spend that money anymore.
Yeah, of course. And we also come from a very privileged place to be in.
Absolutely.
Where you and I are playing a bunch of games. We receive game codes. I'm streaming 7 hours a night along with work. So, like, I'm in the very small portion of people that are playing like 10 hours plus a day, right? Yeah. Most people are working 9 to 5, come home, either exhausted.
Play the one game.
Yeah, have to make dinner, have to hang out with their family, get 2 hours a night, right? Now they see a brand new game come out that is a 80-hour experience. They want that. That's going to take a long time. It's not a turn and burn anymore.
Yeah, no. It takes a lot to move, your friend group now to buy an entire game. Unless you're Snowbike Mike, he'll just buy the game for you. So that's a blessing.
If you need a friend, you hit me up, because I need some more friends.
Who buy you?
What
was it? What was it? The Robin Hood game, the Hood or whatever.
Oh, Hood Outlaws and Legends! Shout out! We were one of the few people to play that before it went down. But like 40%, that is a big number. I thought it would have been a little bit higher.
I would think like 60,
know what I mean?
70.
Most of the people, whenever I read our audience, they make it seem like it's doom and gloom, like 80% of every single human being on earth is playing these games. It's like, 40%. Okay. Like, that's strong. That's a big number. But I thought it was much bigger. It felt
but
like
I
the
wonder,
sense of doom was bigger.
I wonder if you start adding in, let me triple check the headline here, but 10 live service games. I wonder if the base Call of Duty counts, like a Black Ops 6, does that count as a live service? Maybe not. Warzone is. But, like, I wonder if you add Call of Duty Black Ops 6 to this. Does that change everything? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it might be 60%, right? You might get another 20%.
Is FIFA in this? EA Sports?
Yeah, exactly.
FC?
It's a great call.
Is that what these are?
Is that live service? Yes.
That's live service.
Okay.
I think so. I think some of these sports games are very much live service.
Okay.
Games.
I wonder what that list is. But yeah, maybe that's something for You're Wrong or something. I don't think I have access to the You're Wrong doc, so I might have to.
I have the You're Wrong.
Okay, cool.
If anybody wants to You're Wrong us, please write in. And of course, don't forget the super chat. Get involved with me and Roger's conversation. Let's have some fun.
Everybody. Number 4, OG Xbox exclusive Jade Empire could have been, quote unquote, another franchise for BioWare, if not for, and there's another quote, moronic advice from Microsoft. This is
Wild.
fire. This is fire.
Right here, I read this while I was out, doing all the off-site stuff, and I was like, "This is an interview that I have to check out."
I'm so excited.
This interview popped off.
I'm so excited to talk to you about this because I know nothing about Jade Empire, and there has been some Jade Empire talk in this office the last few months. So we'll talk about that in a second. This is from Eric Van Allen over at IGN. BioWare has built up several legendary series across its run as a game development studio like Baldur's Gate, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age. The lesser-known martial arts RPG Jade Empire could have made the list too, though it sounds like the chances were spoiled thanks to a rough launch window and some bad advice from Microsoft. Over on the My Perfect Console podcast, as spotted by Games Radar, BioWare co-founder Dr. Greg Zeschuk discussed one of the regrets he'd had, specifically launching Jade Empire at the end of the original Xbox's life cycle. The RPG hit Xbox on April 12th, 2005, coming up on the 20th anniversary. That was crazy. Several months before the November 22nd, 2005 launch date for the 360. And according to Zeschuk, Microsoft advised BioWare to launch it then rather than later. And this is the quote. And Microsoft's like, no, you should release it now, right at the end of the cycle, because it's a great time. Zeschuk said, it was like the worst advice, like absolutely moronic advice from them. It was the stupidest thing ever. If BioWare had pushed the project back a bit, putting Jade Empire on the 360, Dr. Zeschuk speculated that the studio would have rezzed it up. I read that as rizzed that up, so that's my broken brain, and had it ready to go. It might have cost some more money, but it could have put Jade Empire on in a better place. Give us 6 months. Give us the chance to make it a launch title for the 360, and we'd have another franchise, Zeschuk said. And, I mean, who knows where, I just think it would have been a way more successful product at the beginning of a cycle versus the end. That's the end of the quote. Granted, the BioWare co-founder also acknowledged that the combat of Jade Empire, quote-unquote, wasn't as good as it could have been. In theory, though, it would have given Microsoft an RPG closer to, or even within the 360's launch window. I know zero anything about Jade Empire. Can you tell us about it and tell me why you love it so much you want it to be rebooted?
Oh, that's a great one. I actually know zero about this as well. We had some fun shit list conversations. I bought it recently on Steam, but it is interesting to see this. And yeah, I'm going to go check out this podcast because there's a lot of pull quotes coming from this right now over the past couple of days about the conversation here. But man, oh man, there's a couple of things here. One, as someone who really was big on the 360, right? Like the end of the original Xbox, I don't think I was buying as many games, or I wasn't truly looking at it all to see a Jade Empire. No. But the start of the 360, right? We're talking about King Kong all of a sudden I'm playing, right? I'm playing Oblivion
Dead
right
Rising.
off the bat. Dead Rising. I'm playing Perfect Dark. There was a time there with
Blood
the 360 first year, 2 years, I was playing everything and anything. So yeah, if Jade Empire launched on the 360, I probably would have played that game.
And I also don't know anything about if this game, it doesn't seem like it because, what he's saying right here, but it doesn't seem like it was a cross-gen release as well. Of course, it was backwards compatible with the original 360. Everyone remembers that. The first 360 had, you can put in the disc and you can play the original games. But I remember Blood Money specifically, Hitman Blood Money, that was a Xbox game, and it also had a 360 specific disc, right? Yes. So I wonder if that happened because, I remember I was also there, right, with you, right? When the 360 came out, I was there within that first year. I remember going to GameStop, looking at the very small and meager list of 360 games on the wall, and I'm being like, okay, which one am I choosing, right? Yeah. I wonder if Jade Empire was up there, if I would have chosen that one, right? Or I would have chosen the correct answer, which was Dead Rising, everybody.
Dead Rising is a great game. Yeah, my favorite also is maybe the combat wasn't up to par.
Yeah.
It's okay, well, maybe the key feature of the game wasn't quite there yet. But
give us 6 months. We would have put that shit on there.
Some moronic idea that we didn't make the 360 launch. But you know what? The combat wasn't quite there yet.
Yeah. But other games that didn't have great combat like that. It's fine. Yeah, I'm interested to see Jade Empire. I want to actually see gameplay of this eventually.
Okay, hey, if you want it, I've got it on my Steam account. We can play it anytime. Jump.
Oh, okay. We're gonna
people hype it up. People give it a lot of love.
You know
what I mean? A lot of love.
Oh shit, this is looking great. We're looking at some gameplay right now of Jade Empire Special Edition.
The mother is free, the caves in the back are open, and this one will feed us tonight.
Oh wow, this
Fuck
dub
yeah.
is.
This could be us.
That's a great
That's
dub.
something.
Right there.
Yes.
This is fire.
I'm trying to get
If
us
this
a
was on the
gameplay.
360 launch, probably would have done much better. Correct.
Yeah.
That's
cool
some
of him.
wild. You would have loved to have been
Now
in
he's
the room
fighting a tree. Oh,
where they're like, "Yo, just put the game out right now." No
Man.
better time.
But here's the thing, Mike. If Jade Empire was launched on the 360,
Yep.
it probably would have gotten a sequel. Probably would have got a third game. Probably would have been a remake right now. We can play right now. But that would be so big.
Could have been huge.
But I'm tired of all of that big news. If I wanted something smaller, say the tiniest news I need to know about, where would I go?
Roger, I would take you to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
Mike, let me have a
You did great, Roger.
Wii News, everybody.
Welcome to the Wii News channel. Of course,
From
we had
VGC
some fun.
From VGC, French publisher Nacon has announced plans to hold a digital product showcase next month. There's nothing I love more than digital product showcases.
man,
I'm always looking it up.
Koch Media.
Ah, shit. Stream end.
enough Nintendo Directs. Give me more Nintendo digital product showcases.
God, I love calling my games that I love to play products. Yeah, I just love it.
Digital products.
I love it. Product content.
So many products,
You
so
know
many
what? Let's watch
SKUs.
this.
Yeah, let's just 10 a.m. during Games Daily.
Let's write this
You and
down.
I hold a separate stream that's competing with it. See who gets more views. I like that. I like that a lot. This one is going to be called the Nacon Connect presentation and will be broadcasted on March 6th at 10 a.m. PT. Another one from VGC, Striking Distance Studios, the developer behind the Callisto Protocol and Redacted, has been hit with a round of layoffs. Its parent company, Krafton, said it has reduced the size of the California-based studio, but it remains operational.
Yeah, that hasn't been good.
No.
That ever since Callisto Protocol dropped and the reviews on that one, it has not looked good.
Yeah.
You just keep seeing the trajectory of the studio, people leaving, the layoffs now. It does not, like, you look up there and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen with that team.
Yeah, and you can read it after you see Redacted, right? That game that is in the universe. They're trying something smaller. They're shooting things out, hoping that something actually works out. So our hearts go out to all of the people that lost their jobs there. Quora launches April 1st on PS5 and PC. AC-A2 Neo Geo, the King of Fighters 98, launches February 27th on Xbox Series and PS5. And you say Pirate Yakuza is a bad fucking title, okay? Sonic Rumble launches this spring. Oh, shit. Fall Guys competitor, Sonic Rumble.
Stop it.
Put up the gameplay.
Stop it right
Sonic
now.
Rumble.
For real.
I'm pretty sure that's what this is.
Am I about to become a Sonic guy?
You already are a Sonic
Am
guy.
I
You
going to
played
give
Shadow
my soul
Generations.
to Sonic right now? I watched Sonic 3, the movie. Didn't see 1 or 2, but I watched
Fuck
3.
yeah, it was good, right?
Yo, it was pretty cool.
So that was Mike lying to me, right, everybody? Everybody, let's
Yo.
rewind the tape. That was Mike looking at me and saying, actually, I don't like this game, but I'm going to say, pretty cool. Just right to my fucking face. I saw it all. Yeah, this is their Fall Guys competitor.
Brilliant. Brilliant idea. This is it. This is it.
I don't think it's good.
No, of course it's not going to be good, Roger. You look at that and you go, that doesn't look good.
It looks great.
Focus on Sonic. I know.
It looks great.
Are we going to play it? Of course.
Yeah, of course we're going to do a stream. We're going to have Blessing dressed up
We're
as
gonna
Tails.
like dedicate 3 streams to this.
Oh,
Probably.
yeah, exactly. We're going to be like, hey, we have to delay the Pokemon stream. We have to do this. This is more important. So, again, that is coming out in the spring. So I'm sure we'll have some news about that soon.
Okay.
The Rise of the Golden Idol DLC, The Sins of New Wells, launches next month. Thought about picking that up on the Fantasy Critic. I don't believe people are going to review that enough. You know what I mean? You never know.
I think it'll get reviewed enough only because the Golden Idol games are like both of them very well regarded, especially in like on indie sites and indie spaces.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna get reviewed, but like the
exactly.
second one didn't review as well as the first one, and now this is the DLC of the second one. Like you're gonna get 4 or 5 reviews, maybe you're getting mid-high 70s.
Yeah.
You know?
Really quick, Justin said in the chat, wait, did they do 2 games dailies today? Sort of. The first product we did today was actually turned into a GAMESCAST because it was so good. It was with Jason Schreier. So this is the Games Daily right now. So you have a GAMESCAST to watch already after this. Don't you worry about that. What?
Oh, we have you're wrong.
Ah, shit. Okay. Is it really bad?
No, it's just funny.
Oh, okay, good. PS Plus Essential Games for March 2025. We have Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Wow, that's already on there. Sonic Colors Ultimate. See, Mike, you can do it. You can be a Sonic Colors guy. You can play that.
Is that a good one too?
I think it's fine. It's a Wii game. It was a Wii game that was ported and remastered.
Okay.
And then we have TMNT, the Cowabunga Edition Collection. Cowabunga Collection.
Yeah.
Also on
You said they
PS
got
Plus.
a tactical one now, too.
Yes, that's made by Strange
didn't check that
Scaffolding. No.
Okay.
And that is the end of Wii News.
I like that.
I think it's a part of Steam Next Fest.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yes, it is. Have you been playing much Steam Next Fest stuff?
No, I've been on a bunch of planes. I have finally landed. I am back to normal, Mike. But man, I had a great
There's
time.
one game I want to call out which isn't out yet, and I don't even know if this was a Steam Next Fest demo, but it's just I played this game. I think it was at the Mix last year,
Oh, I love
and it's
the
coming
Mix.
out next month. At least that's what it says on their Steam page. Sacre Bleu. Have you seen this game? I think you and I played it.
Oh,
This
I
game's
think
coming
this
out-
was you and me, Roger.
Oh, okay, yes, it might have been that. Yeah, that makes sense.
You got like the blunderbuss or whatever, and you're like a little French.
Yes, look, if we can see some gameplay of this. This game's coming out next month, and no one's talking about it, and it was so fucking fun at the Mix. The demo's out right now. I'm excited to play it. I requested a code. Hopefully we get that soon, but like this game, it was so fun. It reminded me of Guacamelee. The art style is incredible.
Yeah,
it's coming out on
Grinder vibes, too.
Exactly, and it's coming out on Switch, and it's coming out on PC. But I just want to call that out because this game is really cool, and it kind of made me sad because it's like, oh fuck, this game's coming out next month, and no one's talking about it.
I
So,
like that.
I'm excited about
This demoed very well a year ago, so I imagine that like this is going to be a fun one to look out for.
Yes.
For sure when it comes out. I didn't know it was coming out next month. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Oh, man. I've
Look how
played a
beautiful
couple
that
of good games. Did people play Keep Driving? I haven't heard many people
I have
talk
heard
about that
every
game.
podcast I listen to has talked about Keep Driving.
You
this
got
week,
one.
Mike.
I want you
You
to know
get-
Snowbike Mike played it, loved it, had a great time with it. Also, has anybody played a game about digging a hole? Roger, let me put you on to some gas, okay? Some gasoline, Roger. If you got a night and you say to yourself, I want to play a video game, okay, a video-ass video game, you need to go play a game about digging a hole, okay? Did I dig a hole for 2.5 hours straight, Roger? Did I look straight down and just keep digging, right? Did I need to know what was at the bottom of this hole, Roger? Hell yeah, I did. And were my questions answered? Yeah, they were. You need to play this game. This is a video game, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes we don't talk about that.
This is a video game.
This is a video fucking game. Play this video game. Gosh,
I think
darn
the
it.
only thing that's
Giant
like,
Bomb did a 4-person race
I
similar
love
to our
this.
Sifu race,
I
but
love
it's just
this.
them digging a hole.
This fucking game rules. 2.5 hours of just staring at the ground, Roger, digging a hole.
I think we've regressed.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
This
Like as a
is the type of shit
society,
that we
as
want.
a world. You know, we talk about 40% of people are playing 10 games, right? The other
but-
percentage of people are just sitting there fucking digging holes. What are we
Roger,
doing?
what if I told you that you could sell like rocks and stuff on the internet and then buy a jetpack so when you dig
jetpack.
your hole deep enough, you can jetpack out of the hole.
You know, I talk a lot of shit, and that sounds actually great. And I also have to. I'm like playing the heel right now, but I love this.
I know you
because,
do.
Because
I
here's
know
the thing.
you do.
You told me about TCG simulator, card shot simulator. I put like 20 hours in that game in like a week.
I'll put
it was
you
an
onto
issue.
some
I
gas.
uninstalled it.
You know, I usually get laughed out of this room, but I'll put you onto some gas sometime.
Yeah, Mike is the jester that gets laughed out the room, but he was right the entire time.
Exactly.
He was right.
Mike was
History
right.
will know.
I
History
got
will
some
know.
super chats and some year
Let me know.
wrongs. Let's jump into super chats. Of course, Zombie Keegan writes in and says, "Feed me garbage, Papa Mike. Baby bird, that trash to me." Keegan, add me on Steam. I'll buy you some bad video games we can play together. Have you played Keep Moving the Glass or Move the Glass?
I've seen this one. I think you wanted to play this with me or Andy.
Gas. Roger, get your girl, get your partner, and you two play this all night. I tell you, you will be laughing from the pit
Gas
of your
or ass?
stomach.
That's
gas.
great.
We
We figured
Is it
it out.
gas or is it ass?
Is it gas or is it ass? It's so much better than valid and salad. It's gas or is it ass?
This
I
game-
thought you were doing like the really bad bumper sticker of ass, gas, or
Yes.
grass no one rides for free. And I was like, what?
This game,
Why?
Move the Glass, is some of the absolute best moments in gaming in 2025. This shit is so much fun. Grab a friend, grab a loved one, grab your grandma, okay? And say, hold on to the sticks, grandma, because we're going on a wild ride to move this glass.
I'm holding on to the sticks.
It's like, my heart is full, okay? Because I'm getting some good video games in 2025.
Yeah, I love every year around February, January. Mike always looks at me and says, "Man, Game of the year. It's going to be in my top 10. And guess what? He's right always. Like, it's always ends up on the top 10.
And people won't play it, but
I think Mike might stop playing video games after March.
I'm just telling you right now, Chad, I'm putting you onto some gas, okay? 2 great games, a game about digging a hole, and keep moving the glass, okay? Just fucking play those games.
I love this. I love this as a KFGD segment where,
Yes.
like, every week or so, you come in with some gas
Mike
and some
puts
ass.
you on.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
gas or ass.
Yeah. Gas or ass for Mike.
Jens writes in and says, Mike, I started playing Dark Souls 2, and you're right, it's goated. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report that one Andy Cortez is now finally playing Dark Souls 2, and he's putting on to absolute gas. He's finally seeing the ways of Dark Souls 2. A lot of trash was talked before he started playing it, and I think when we hear at the end of the day, he's going to smile and say, that's a really good game.
I'm proud of
My
him.
favorite Dark
So
Souls.
he played 1 and he played 3?
Yeah.
Why did he skip 2? It's like the mid
Because
one?
he was trash talking. He let the haters get in his head.
Bro, you got to stop.
Miyazaki didn't direct Dark Souls 2. So
You gotta
that's
follow
why,
the
like,
line, bro.
and like
Also,
he
Rocksteady
came
didn't
in-
make Origins, and that's the best ones. Like, what are we
Oh my
talking
god,
about?
I love Origins.
Fuck yeah, bro. What are we
It's
talking
really
about?
not.
fucking-
Have
that
you gone
game
back
was
to that
gas.
open
Fuck
world?
yeah,
It's
bro.
fucking ass.
Dude, it's
gas.
fucking
Story,
Christmas. He hates
gas,
Christmas, bro.
Story, gas, open world, ass.
Bro, he don't like Christmas, bro.
Christmas.
No one's
Said
in
the
the streets
story
because
was
it's
gas.
Christmas.
Not enough games go around Christmas.
Bro, come on. We got to talk about
Not
that.
enough games go around Thanksgiving.
We're
you know, it's
losing
fucked
it.
up.
Let's go to You're Wrong.
You're doing it wrong, too.
Let's go to You're Wrong.
We have no more Super Chats?
No, that's it on the Super Chats. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
Super
everybody.
Chatting. Always, please remember, we're a small business of 11 human beings trying to make awesome content for you. Don't forget, if you Super Chat, you help keep the lights and mics on. Big Bad Beluga writes in and says, the 360 did not have backwards compatibility until November 2007, 2 years after the launch of the console. This was around the same time Roger was taking his first steps.
Yeah, you're right about that one. And you're actually probably right. That makes sense. Maybe I did get it 2 years later.
Yeah, I felt like my mind goes to
I
like
was a little baby,
there
I
was
don't
a
remember.
hard divide on the
Yeah.
Xbox and the 360, and I didn't see many crossover titles, or maybe I was just
When did
into
Blood
the
Money come out?
360 at that
When
point.
did Blood Money come out on the 360, everybody? Someone put that in the chat because I want to know. Actually, I can Google it. I can
Blood
Google it.
Money.
Blood Money 360.
Hitman, right?
Yeah.
2006 was
Okay.
when it initially came out, but
Oh.
that came.
No, it came out in 360.
Oh, yeah,
360.
360 at the
okay.
launch.
So I guess I got it in 2006.
Okay,
Got a year later.
yeah,
I was
you put
lying
Jade
about everything I
Empire
said.
on the 360 would have been better.
Shit.
What a moron!
Would have been on that fucking shelf right there. I would have picked it up.
That's all the You're Wrongs, and that
Shit.
is all the Super Chats for the day, Roger. You've made it through Games Daily and GamesCast.
Huge.
2 great shows that you got to listen to. Of course,
That was incredible.
GamesCast was really, really good. There's been a great Kind of Funny podcast. Go listen to Matt Piscatella with Greg doing a little one-on-one. Was a lot of fun. And thanks for smiling with me and Roger
Yeah,
today
and
during Games
remember,
Daily.
this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. Again, if you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free. Watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. Remember, again, Alien vs. Predator in review, Predator 2. We're recording that today. Make sure you want to listen to that because is that gas or is that ass? We'll let you know. Enjoy the stream next, which is going to be Dark Souls with Blessing for the very first time, his second part of the playthrough of his first time.
Yeah.
But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.